stop, children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down.
More, no more. More, no more. More, no more.
Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to World News Tonight. Tonight we'll be discussing addressing the growing anti-war protests which are riddling the United States. The Vietnam War, which began with U.S. efforts to crush the grips of communism in northern Vietnam, quickly sank to guerrilla warfare. America continues to send more and more troops across the Pacific Ocean to fight Ho Chi Minh. These troops, however, are not accustomed to the Vietnam style of warfare. The number of casualties on both sides is quickly escalating, and thousands of innocent civilians are perishing each day. Are all of these deaths justified by the reasons for which we fight? Is there a light at the end of the tunnel? Tonight I have a guest, Andrea Mooney, who will be discussing the anti-war efforts. Good evening, Ms. Mooney. Let's start with a few basic questions on your outlook on the war in Vietnam. Do you support the war?
No, I strongly disagree with its moral, political, and social representations.
What are your reasons for these disapprovals?
Well, the U.S. involvement began with the government bursting into other countries' business at a time when it should have minded its own business.
So, do you only disagree with the reasons for the war?
No, I am also opposed to the events which are occurring in Vietnam as we speak.
Would you care to elaborate on these particular events?
Well, yes. The fighting has deteriorated from the guerrilla-style warfare. Men are hiding in swamps and holes. Men are killing each other ruthlessly using any possible means. Even civilians are being killed and injured in large groups by their air raids of poison gas.
Well, what have people been doing to inform the public about these atrocities?
The anti-war protests have really started with college students. Then they spread to middle-class workers, labor unions, and government institutions. It's really affecting everyone, no matter what social class you are in. After Joseph McCarthy unpopularized communist and socialist organization, many people were attracted to the emerging anti-war movement. It was an easily debatable cause that affected their everyday lives. In early February of 1965, the U.S. began bombing Vietnam. This struck a lot of people and served as an eye-opener to many. The pictures of those events were very striking and made people question the reasoning behind this new destruction.
So, what sorts of protests have you been involved with lately?
Well, last month I was involved in the tragic protest at Kent State. We were protesting the recent announcement by President Nixon on the American invasion of Cambodia. Sadly, during the demonstration, angry guardsmen shot multiple students. It was terrible because 2 of the students killed had been innocently walking to class. Right after the shootings, angry students were eager to launch an all-out attack on the National Guard. Thankfully, students were calmed and taken off the premises before further damage was done. What was meant to be a peaceful anti-war demonstration turned out to be a violent massacre. Also, I have been involved with anti-draft protests. These began at the University of California, but have been spreading across schools all around the country. We risk arrests through these demonstrations to resist draft, but we have been coming together and burning draft cards as well as participating in marches. I hope that our protest will make a difference and that an end to war is in our near future.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Ms. Mooney. I'll let you get back to your protest.
Oh, thank you.
Now here's Paul Potter, President of the Students for Democratic Society on the Vietnam War.
What, in fact, has the war done for freedom in America? It has led to even more vigorous governmental efforts to control information, manipulate the press, and pressure and persuade the public through distorted or downright dishonest documents, such as the White Paper on Vietnam. It has led to the confiscation of films and other anti-war material and the vigorous harassment by the FBI of some of the people who have been most outspokenly active in their criticism of the war. As the war escalates, and the administration seeks more actively to gain support for any initiative it may choose to take, there has been the beginnings of a war psychology unlike anything that has burdened the country since the 1950s. How much more of Mr. Johnson's freedom can we stand? How much more freedom will be left in the country if there is a major war in Asia? By what weird logic can it be said that the freedom of one people can only be maintained by the crushing of another?
And now we will turn to some footage of the Kent State Massacre as described by Andrea Mooney, and also some footage from a recent Chicago protest.
Out here in the fields, I found for my meals. I get my back into my living. I don't need to fight to prove I'm right. I don't need to be forgiven. Tin soldiers and Nixon's coming. We're finally on our own. This summer I hear the drumming for dead in Ohio. Gotta get down to it. Soldiers are cutting us down. Should have been done long ago. What if you knew her and found her dead on the ground? How can you run when you know?
These two protests show the continuing anti-war sentiments being expressed throughout the country right now. As the war drags on, outbreaks similar to these will continue to plague the nation. We'll keep you updated on any further anti-war advances which may be made. Until then, tune in tomorrow to World News Tonight for your news update. Thanks for watching.